Hello! Hello! Shiose desu! Today I'll be doing my Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's episode 25 review. And this time Shiose has prepared a script. So this time Shiose will be much more organized and won't be going off on weird tangents. Well, maybe the tangents will keep on coming, but that's just how Shiose is. Okay, let me move myself over. And put up the slideshow. Yay! Okay, so for this episode, overall Shiose thinks this episode was really good. It set up the action for the end of the arc, which will all come to a head next episode. We saw what happened directly after the scene in episode 24, got some context for where everyone is and what Yuga's goals are, and the stakes. We ended on a cliffhanger with Magnum Over Road, so Shiose is very excited to see the next episode, but maybe I should start from the beginning. I want to focus more on the characters for this review, because it's very important to Yuga's maximum summoning. First, it's Luke, Roman, and Gakto, and then Shiose wants to do a little bit on Nail. There's a lot to say about Nail despite most of his lines being in the duel, but we'll get to that. Halfway through the episode, we get a flashback, and here we are. Halfway through the episode, we get a flashback scene to what happened immediately after episode 24 ended. If you remember Shiose's last review, then you'll understand that Shiose got very frustrated with the talks last episode because it seemed like Luke, Roman, and Gakto were placing a lot of pressure on Yuuga. They expected him to carry them to the finish line despite him not wanting to at first. I have to say that for this episode, well, unfortunately, Shiose thinks it got worse. Yuga's very clearly distressed by the news when they tell him their proposal, but somehow Luke's first response to this is something's wrong with you. You're weird today. And well, Shiose thinks it's because they're very young, so maybe they just don't know how exactly to cheer Yuuga up or support him. I just wanted to mention this scene because if we saw Yuuga as he was normally, or well, not depressed, these statements wouldn't have stood out as much. But we see him very distressed and about to cry. This may have been the most vulnerable we've seen Yuuga yet, and this episode came right after 24. Maybe not all is as it seems for Yuuga. Shiose just thinks and wonders about the last time the protagonist's group of friends expected the protagonist to solve all their problems despite being in a depressive state. Shiose just wonders about last time. Well, last time. Anyway, once again, I'm not trying to say that Luke, Roman, and Gakto are bad friends. They gave up their ID cards in dueling in order for him to make maximum cards and protect his rush duels. They're doing all they can to help Yuuga and have sacrificed a lot by doing so. Luke even gave up his dream! His dream of becoming king! Of course they care about him. It's just this entire scene just makes Shiose feel a little weird because it just kind of seems like there's just so much pressure on Yuuga to succeed. Shiose really isn't a fan of these stakes, you know? But well, Shiose really loved a line from this episode where Roman says that they didn't sacrifice their accounts. That in response to Nail, And she's like, no, we entrusted them. We entrusted our accounts to Yuuga. And that just makes me feel so soft. It's just, Shiose has some past experiences with depressed protagonists being expected to carry the burden of their friends' livelihoods on their shoulders. But you know, hopefully it doesn't get to that. Again, I think the flashback scene is very significant for the exact reason that we see it through the eyes of a distressed Yuuga. If he were normal, this wouldn't have struck me as odd. But, you know, he's not normal here. And they're all just... In the end, they're all just good kids trying to support Yuuga, trying to help him protect his rush duels. Before Shiose gets to talking about Nail, Shiose kind of wants to talk about the museum scene. So, there's something really interesting about the scene. At first, I didn't understand why they had this first portion with the duel museum and duel history leading up to the duel, because it just felt like some sort of excuse for them to kind of shoehorn in some references. But Shiose had 2 days to think on this, and I think now my opinion has changed. And it's actually kind of smart. It explains to us how Solid Vision works, as well as establishes SEVENS as its own show with its own lore. Immediately after the explanations, we see Nail's Igadrago wrecking the building. But it's alright, because it was explained earlier that this is all just the work of Solid Vision. It can cover a wide space and simulate things like building destruction, but in the end it's all just holograms. So it was just really genius for them to kind of introduce Nail wrecking Goha HQ, but like not really. And speaking of Nail, this episode gave us more insight into Nail and how he is as a... here we are. This episode gave us more insight into Nail and how he is as a person, as well as what he thinks about the universe, and especially Yuga's roads. To start off, there's a scene where Nail pulls up Luke and Yuga's grades and talks about how he's surprised Yuga seems to be there with Luke, because Luke has bad grades and doesn't seem interested in, you know, studying anything. From this scene alone, and specifically just this line, it's inferred that Nail seems to be someone who doesn't understand why Yuuga would hang around or with people he doesn't see as Yuga's equal. We got a bit of this thought process back in episode 23, when the robot lady in Nail's Haven mentions that he built the shopping street for the express purpose of getting people to understand Providence, and by extension him, which Yuuga did. It seems like Nail wants people to understand him, but also he only wants to be surrounded by people who do. And because of that, he doesn't understand why Yuuga hangs out with Luke. Shiose thinks it's just a very interesting look into his character with this one line in the middle of a comedic moment, and Shiose is very impressed with SEVENS' characterization and world building. It's just wonderful. Like, we got all this from the middle of a comedic moment. And of course, during the duel, he talks about how Gohan Duels were built from solid foundations, and how it's because of the accumulated research and development that everyone can enjoy Gohan Duels. It seems like Nail is somewhat of a traditionalist in that he values Gohan Duels because he respects them, and sees rush duels as a sort of invasion or disrespect on them. Of course, I don't see it this way, and neither do our protagonists. That went too fast. I don't see it this way, and neither do our protagonists. But these are Nail's thoughts. And another interesting thing from this episode, this line with the penalty marks, when Nail says, "I don't know what you did," it implies that Nail doesn't have an actual grasp on the system that kind of maybe grades people depending on their behaviors and actions. That he didn't know that this duel between Gakuto, Luke, Roman, and Oshus happened. And perhaps maybe he's not as all-encompassing or powerful, but you know, these are just Shiose's thoughts. But of course, skipping forward, everyone wants to hear about Super Magitek Deity Magnum Over Road. It's the star of this episode. Shiose was overcome with emotion during it. They all said Yuuga's summoning chant together. Look at them. And it makes me so emotional. Super GATTAI Magnum Over Road. You know, it's very interesting to see this Super Magitek Deity Magnum Over Road, because we actually got a foreshadowing of maximum summoning, not specifically Magnum Over Road, because, well, we all knew it was going to be a giant robot. That was foreshadowed since episode 1. But specifically of maximum summoning back in episode 14. Look! You know, the episode that everyone thought was just filler? This is just maximum summoning in action. This was the foreshadowing of what maximum summoning would be. And Shiose is just very emotional over Super Magnum Over Road. And the rest of the duel didn't really seem to be as interesting as this. And I mean, how could anything top this? Super Magnum Over Road. Shiose keeps saying Super Magnum Over Road, but it's Super Magitek Deity Magnum Over Road, but that's a mouthful. But, you know, anyway, Shiose is very, very excited for the arc's end and the next episode. SEVENS has been very good about keeping past characters relevant, especially with how Roa made a return this season in more ways than one, so I hope to see more of Nail in the future. That said, I actually kind of want to see this match end in a draw and not a clear win for Yuuga. This way it will establish that Yuuga is on the same level as Nail, potentially changing Nail's mind, while not diminishing all the effort they went through to make Nail seem super strong over the course of this arc. I mean, he OTK'd Yuuga, he OTK'd a protagonist. I feel like that's definitely a power level. You know what? In fact, Shiose wants this so much that she will bet that Nail and Yuuga will have a draw at the end of episode 26, or whenever their duel ends, but it will probably be episode 26. Come on, SEVENS. Let's have a draw result. Come on, SEVENS. Shiose's winking. Shiose's winking. Come on, SEVENS. Shiose thinks Nail deserves it. Well, that was the end of Shiose's review for this episode. Shiose personally is really enjoying SEVENS. And this episode was just so very nice. I mean, how could you not love this episode? Super Magitek Deity Magnum Over Road. Everyone saying the summoning chant at once. No matter if doubt, distress, or despair blocks Yuuga's way, dreams, courage, and friendship will carve a path through it all and press onward. Before Shiose ends this video, Shiose wants to announce... Oh, this is blocking Shiose. Hang on, Shiose will move this. Here we are. Shiose wants to say that she has a Twitter now. At Shiose Shishi. Oh, at Shiose_Shishi. And Shiose also streams on Twitch now. In fact, well, on the day that this episode is uploaded, Shiose will be streaming in a couple hours. And you can check Shiose's Twitter for full details. Well, thank you everyone for watching this video, and Shiose thanks you for watching and hopes you subscribe. And come watch Shiose's streams. Thank you. Shiose hopes to expand doing more Yu-Gi-Oh videos on her YouTube. Right now it's just SEVENS reviews, and of course Shiose hopes to stream on YouTube as well in the future. Right now Shiose is just starting out and very busy, and Shiose hasn't even debuted yet. Well, thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe and comment. Shiose replies and reads every comment. Shiose wants to hear everyone's thoughts on this episode. Okay, well, thank you. Boop, boop. Shiose's leaving.